So as we move towards the last round of the Rugby Championship, I think it's worth talking about how Rassie Erasmus is starting to evolve South Africa to a slightly new look team, and how Scott Robertson is doing the same for the All Blacks, how well they're doing and how close are they to that team, and how this new style team is going to be playing. Now I say new style and evolution because there's a lot of very experienced players in here. They're not ripping everything up and starting again, but definitely we've seen a couple of times now in this Rugby Championship a newer looking South Africa team where they've mixed the old and the newer players, and they're actually playing a different sort of rugby. Of course, you've got the attack coach there, Tony Brown, the New Zealander, and we actually saw kind of a controlled chaos game in that game against Argentina where they scored 67 points. Some craziness in the second half especially. I mean, in the first half, now of course they gave them a bit of an own try, which is quite interesting with Cheslin Colby's dropout, but we saw a very different looking team. We saw the 10 of course, Sasha Feinberg Umgomezulu really tearing it up. And he is what excites me about this South Africa team. Him and Libbok, are they similar players? Well, not really actually, because I think Umgomezulu is a better kicker. He's a more natural kicker. He's got more height on his kicks, more natural distance. He's a better tackler. He's probably actually slightly quicker as well, but Libbok's very quick as well. So they can play the same sort of attacking game, but I think if you want to play a kicking game, which is always a good idea sometimes, and South Africa have been very good at it, then Umgomezulu is a great guy to do it. Now, we're thinking who can replace Pollard, who's a great kicker. Well, Umgomezulu can absolutely kick the leather off the ball, as he actually did in that last game. Even though they scored a lot of exciting offloading tries, they kicked the ball a hell of a lot, and they got a lot of change out of it. So that's a really good melding of the old and the new, I think, showing that Umgomezulu can be the starting 10 with Manny Libbok backing him up. I think that's absolutely fine, and maybe they'll wheel out Pollard a couple of times if they need it. There's some other players to come back into that back line. We've got Grant Williams, of course, who can come back in. Faf de Klerk's not there at the moment. Fassi is out injured. Willemse, he was very good at 15, very good under the high ball, but I would like him at 12 as well because he gives you all that ball playing option as well as his physical presence. Delande was okay in there, but he's a little bit of a fish out of water with all those running threats around him. Still a very good player. Esterhuizen still has a lot to offer, so that backline I think is going to be kind of the basis of the backline going forward. Will the likes of Creel start to be edged out? It's very possible. They've got Arenza who can come back in as well. Colby's obviously going to stick around. Hooker's done okay, but I think Arenza may be well come back into it. But I think they're pretty close to their back line, with obviously a few other guys hovering around. But let me know, how do you shape it up going forward, as of course they come to the Northern Hemisphere in November. The Boks lost Oxenche before the start of that round 5 game, so he'd of course start. I've been impressed by Venter and Vessels as well. Marks, I think, apart from that yellow card, which was a bit annoying, has been playing very well, showing there's plenty of life left in him as their best hooker, I think, at the moment. Thomas Totoy, a good all-rounder, but the extra scrummaging power of Low on the bench, I think, is a really good one to the old bomb squad. And of course, you've got the likes of Mal Herber, who could come back into it. I think probably will. He's 34, but still a scrummaging beast. So plenty of experience there in the front row, with plenty of other guys coming around. The second row is a bit of an older position, which is fine. Esabeth is still tearing it up. He's got plenty of athletic ability still. Snyman came back with a really good burst, I think, in this Rugby Championship. When he started off, he had a very poor first game and then came back into it. And when he gets that offloading game going, which is great, and this new style of attack does suit Snyman's offloading later in the game. Norkia is not a youngster, but he is in caps terms, but he plays very much like a good standard Springboks second row, very reliable indeed. And of course you've got Diaga and a few other guys as well. The back row of Khaleesi, Pieter-Steph Totoy and Jasper Wiese seems very settled, very balanced. Khaleesi still full of power. Totoy is still doing his thing, even though he's getting well into his 30s, and Wiese just the bulldozing number 8. So there's a lot of traditional players in that pack, but there is some offloading there as well, but it's the backs that really create that extra spark. So I love the mix between the old and the new, the slight evolution, definitely the basis of the team going forward. Of course, we had Quagga Smith coming on, making a big impact on the game. I did like the 9 Vandenberg. He looks like he's got plenty about him. So it's an evolved team that can definitely mix the old and the new. I think you're going to have to accept a little bit more chaos with this team than other teams which are a bit more predictable, and I think they will maybe make some mistakes and give some tries away more than normal, but I think the Boks fans have to stick with that if they're going to get the extra excitement. And when you've got players like Moody as well, I haven't mentioned, I've been so impressed with him. He's improved a lot since last year. Physically, he's definitely got bigger and stronger. But if you're going to have players like that, you're going to have to play a little looser to get the best out of them. So it's always going to be a bit of a balancing act, is how much do you go for it. In the first round, they chucked the ball around too much. We saw Libbok throw an interception pass, which cost them. This time they pulled the trigger when they were on top, and they played a bit of a kicking game to get into it. So South Africa are going to be very powerful coming into the Northern Hemisphere. They could win all of their games. I'm kind of happy they're actually not playing England in the November internationals. Would be a great match, but still, I think they're one to avoid. Now, I'm not hearing a lot of positive things about New Zealand from New Zealand fans. Even though they won that last game, they could still win the Rugby Championship, scoring some good tries. They're not quite happy because New Zealand, of course, used to being one of the best, if not the best team in the world. And they're good, but they're not great at the moment. And New Zealand obviously want to be great. They want to be all-timers. And there's some very good players in there, but in some positions, not quite up to the world-class standard that fans have come to expect. Which is fine, but it's good for World Rugby that they look beatable, but they can still score fantastic tries. In the pack, I think I've been a little disappointed. I thought their front row, I thought their scrum would be a bit better because they've got a nice settled set of props there. De Groot's very solid. Tamaiti Williams probably has the biggest ceiling and probably will get better and better with age and experience. Lomax and Newell seems pretty settled. Taylor, a fantastic all-rounder still, very experienced, in the power of Takiaho. It seems to work perfectly, but they didn't really get any dominance over Australia, so a few question marks that they're going to be that great scrummaging pack I thought they could be. Now, second row-wise, I think they're slightly light compared to previous years. Scott Barrett's obviously a starter, the captain of a good player, maybe not an all-time great. Tupuvai's got a few faults to his game, can get a bit chippy, isn't an absolute beast, but he's athletic, but just not quite sure about him, can't put my finger on it sometimes. Patrick Tupilutu is the veteran, still very good, but no, he's not going to go on for much longer. Fabian Holland is a big athletic dude, but as I've pointed out, I'm not sure his thought processes are quite there yet, not the sharpest in defence sometimes, so on the edge with him. So it's okay in the second row, but I think definitely compared to the heyday, not that great. Back row, they've got some firecrackers, of course. Wallace Atiti is a power carrier of the top order, and Ardie Surveyor is still one of the best in the world. But then they're struggling around to find someone who can fill the gap at 6. Now, is it Parker? I see him a bit of a slogger, a real hard worker, but not exceptional. Blackadder, I think, is out of the squad. Jacobson is okay again. A very good player, but maybe not a great player. They've tried Finau, who's okay again. Lakai could come back into it, but I'm still not sure he's going to be world-class. So definitely question marks to get that back row up to strength as they used to be, or maybe they'll never get there. So it's an okay pack, maybe not quite as good as I thought it could be. Scrum half, when Cam Roigard is in there, it is world class. He's got all the skills, but he's also got that power game and the pace game, a little bit like Antoine Dupont, and he can score around the fringes and muscle his way over as well as the pace. He is a top player. They've just got to keep him fit, which is obviously easier said than done. Sometimes things just happen. At fly half, Beauden Barrett is your sensible option. He is a bit more of a controller. Mackenzie is a bit more of a maverick. They're both very good. I'm not quite sure there's anyone challenging below that, but of course they do have Richie Mwanga coming back, and if he plays to his potential, he may well take over. But they are, into their 30s. That is a question mark for later years, but for now, it's absolutely fine. I do have some question marks in the midfield. We know Geordie Barrett is a good all-rounder. Maybe lost a little bit of pace over the years, but not a lot, but still very good all-rounder. But then who plays with him? Who backs him up? Havili, again, has been a decent player, but I don't see world-class. Ioane probably will come back at 13 at some point, but again, question mark sometimes. Defence, physically, he's okay again. Leonard Brown is fine. They've given Billy Proctor a really good run, and he's a good player, but again, just not great. And I think that is the storyline here for the All Blacks. A good team, not quite great. Will they get there? I'm not sure I'm seeing players coming through at the moment. Maybe someone like Lester Ganuku could come in and make a good impact. There are some other real athletes that could come into this side. Let me know in the backs. I like Caleb Clark on one wing. Will Jordan, when he's playing at his best, is mercurial. He's fantastic. And I thought Carter on the other wing is a real find as well. I think he's come from Sevens, got a great all-round game and very powerful as well for a smaller guy. So he could stick around. So it's a good team. Is it great? I'm not sure. The depth is okay. I mean, they could absolutely beat anyone in the world. Are they going to dominate the game? I don't think so. But also, question marks over Robertson. Plenty of fans not happy with this direction. Could he do better with this group of players? No, I'm not sure he could do much better. I think they're doing pretty well, to be honest. They could still win the Rugby Championship, of course. But definitely some questions in November. That game against England I'm looking forward to. That will definitely give a good measure for both sides. So let me know what you think about the best teams for South Africa and New Zealand at the moment, where they're going, how good are they, is there a great team in there? I'm thinking there is a great team in that South African team over the next couple of years. New Zealand is up in the air. They need to find a few more players. They need to get a little bit stronger in the pack, I think. But anyway, love to know your thoughts down below. If you haven't already, do like, do subscribe. That would really help out. And I'll catch you next time.